And hello, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita, and I am joined again by my special guest host, who's honestly, he's just a host at this point, White Sox expert and my season ticket partner, Jason Frank. How you doing today, Jason?
I'm doing great, a little better than the White Sox today. I saw Nick Madrigal hit a home run, and we lost to the Cubs, but other than that, pretty good.
Yeah, thankfully it's just spring training, and we'll probably talk about Nick Madrigal as the season goes on. I had a nice, fun little tweet where I said I can't wait for the we won the trade from Cubs and Sox fans over Eloy and Madrigal over the next however many years. So that'll be fun. We're baseball fans at the core, so we always enjoy the discourse. But today
we'll track it for years to come.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll keep a tally somewhere.
Yeah.
So today we are doing the White Sox 2022 season preview. We will be doing a Cubs one. I'll be doing that with Nick tomorrow. So we touch on the offseason moves, the injuries that we're already battling, maybe some call-ups and some replacements, as well as our predictions for the coming season. You're going to want to stick around for that. Talk a little batting order, talk some postseason action. So let's get right into it. A little offseason recap. I'll just kind of say who we went over in free agency, and Jason will go over the trades. So in free agency, some of these aren't surprising. Some of these were obvious kind of 1 year short-term rentals. So we lost Billy Hamilton, Ryan Tepera, Carlos Rodon. Obviously that one stings. People have mixed feelings on whether we should have brought it back or not, but it is what it is now. Cesar Hernandez, good riddance. And Brian Goodwin, that one's kind of sad. I thought we maybe could have, at least brought him in to spring training or something just to kind of help us with a little depth. But either way, the Sox then added, to counteract all that, second baseman Josh Harrison, who will be the starting second baseman, relief pitcher Kendall Graveman, who I swear pitched in every single spring training game. Every game I looked at, he had pitched at least one inning. Did really well too.
Yeah.
Relief pitcher Joe Kelly, starting pitcher Vince Velasquez, which I will touch on later when we talk about the starting rotation. Outfielder Adam Hazel. Just kidding. He was a trade. I'll also talk about him later, though, in the offseason or in the potential call-ups. And then we re-signed Leori Garcia, Leori legend, Game 3 hero. So that is kind of what we did free agency-wise. Jason, want to tell them what we did in the trade market?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, a little shout out to Billy Hamilton. He had a nice little grab in center field, climbed the wall. That was crazy. We're going to miss you, buddy.
Absolutely.
But anyways, two of the big trades of the offseason was, I have to put this one first, Craig Kimbrell for AJ Pollock,
perhaps? I think it's Pollock. I believe it's Pollock.
AJ Pollock. I got to learn that. A little bit about him, though. He, in 117 games at the plate last year, he batted .297. So this guy's he's going to be a good addition to the lineup. Just more bats. Our lineup's going to be crazy this year. We'll talk about it a little later. But then in 2015, he's also an all-star and a gold glover. So he's going to play outfield for us, I'd assume. And he's better than whoever we're going to put in right or left. So it's a great addition. And we get Craig Kimbrell's contract off our books. And he got shelled in his first game with the Dodgers. It was .1 innings pitched with 1K. Good for you. 4 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 2 home runs. Put a big old smile on my face.
It was one of the funniest things I've seen on Twitter. And literally 1 week ago, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock in the face. I laughed harder at the Craig Kimbrell thing. It was incredible. So, yeah, sorry to keep going with it. Yeah.
It was perfect. Can't wait to shell him in the World Series. It'll be poetic.
Mm-hmm.
But then a little catcher for catcher action. Both 27 years old. Kind of threw me for a loop. I don't really know why we did it, but after diving deeper into it, I guess it helps us. I mean, Reese McGuire for Zach Collins. Reese was a backup catcher last year too. He bat .250 in 78 games last year, which was a lot better than Zach Collins, who bat about .210. As far as how he is behind the plate, I don't know exactly. Haven't heard too much about it, but hopefully he can come in, build a rapport with some of our pitchers, because Grandal is going to definitely be taking some games off this year. So hopefully he can build that pretty quickly.
It was overall, before we kind of get into injuries here, that was a weird trade for me. I was at my brother's club baseball game in Iowa. I got that, and I was like, "Is there any money moving? Are there any picks? Anything else?" And it was just a straight. I tweeted out the wife swap, the old show, quick catcher swap, because like that's really what it was. I mean, I think we won the trade. Like, it just
right, like
requires better, and they're both 27s. Right. So it's not an age thing. I truly didn't understand it at all. So I guess it maybe was like a minor league, an options thing, which actually I'm going to hit on one of the guys that we may have that issue with later. So that could have been the case. I'm not sure.
Hey, but I guess, like you said, looks like we won the trade.
Yeah.
Backup catcher for backup catcher. I guess we'll see how that plays out. But miss you, Zach. Not really. You didn't play that well.
Yeah.
But
homegrown talent.
Right, exactly. So then, unfortunately, we haven't even hit opening day, and we've already got three big injuries so far. First one, Garrett Crochet, Tommy John, out for the year. I mean, how many times has he been seriously injured, out more than like 2 or 3 weeks? I don't even know at this point. He's made of glass. He's like 6'10", but can whip it 100 miles an hour. His body can't take it. I don't know what he did in the offseason. I'm not a baseball trainer, but I just feel like that body type, you kind of have to put some muscle on when you're throwing 100. I don't know. It was sad to see because I was excited to see him go this year, and a little iffy on our bullpen, and losing a big arm like him definitely hurts.
Yep.
And then on top of that, we lose Lance Lynn. It is only for a month or two. Minor tear in a tendon in his right knee, which sounds awful. I don't know how you can only be out a month or two when you're in a major league pitcher with, no offense to Lance Lynn. It's his thing, holding up a lot of weight on every pitch. So
yeah, I believe it was his meniscus, which is always a weird one because I know there's guys in the NBA that'll tear it, and then there's ways where they can be back in like 5 days, and then there's also
just dunk on somebody.
Yeah, and then you get the surgery and you're out like half a year, and it's just like everywhere in between. It's a very weird injury. I do not understand it. As a non-doctor over here, I do not get
it. In our years of study.
Yes.
But yeah, it makes no sense, but happy to hear 1 to 2 months. I didn't see like a video of the injury, but it sounded like he was in a lot of pain after one pitch and they took him out. So happy to hear. But it is an old vet with a knee injury, so let's just hope it goes smoothly.
Yeah, definitely.
And losing him definitely does suck because he can go deep into games when our bullpen, we may not have all the strongest arms, but like I said, it's only a few months, so hopefully we'll be able to come back strong. And then we've got an odd injury with Andrew Vaughn. It's almost like he got injured standing up. I don't know. He made a decent catch, and then he joked around with Luis Robert, and then the dude gets carted off the field. It's like
he did a little shimmy shake, and he was like,
yeah, he even did a little dance. It was like, don't dance if you have a hip pointer injury. I don't know, man. Like, you fooled me.
That was definitely another weird one too, because again, not a doctor over here, but he it landed weird on his leg. It didn't look like he landed on his hip. I thought he tore his knee up if it, getting carted off the field.
Right.
But yeah, hip pointer injury. Yeah, it was a weird one. That one just stinks. That's just unfortunate. That's that injury bug. Hopefully not, but potentially carrying over from last year, that bad injury luck. So I guess we'll see with that. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, I mean, I think it was a few days later we made the trade for AJ. So if that's what it took, a 1 to 2 week injury to scare the Rickon and the boys, might be worth it. And then we'll see.
Yeah. AJ Pollock will be an interesting one. We'll maybe do a little deeper dive into him in the future on maybe we'll give him his own solo episode, especially if he starts the season off hot. But so obviously we talked about the replacements, we talked about guys we lost, guys we traded away, etc. So now it's time to talk about who maybe replacing them, and who may get called up. So the first one, this is an interesting one because this is what I mentioned with that where the reason we may have traded for the guy from Toronto is what's his name, Reese McGuire. There it is because of the minor league option stuff. So Miker Adolfo, pronounced M-Y, Miker, even though it's spelled M-I-C-K-E-R, should make the roster. Honestly, at this point, he probably should, just because we have some injuries, and he is finally, after being drafted in 2013, is 16 years old, but still, he's finally made his way up. He kind of struggled for a bit there. He has three options, basically. He's out of minor league options. That's why I brought it up. So there are three, and when I say options, I mean choices that the White Sox can make. There are three situations here. So one, he makes the big league roster. We're good to go. We can't send him back down, though. That's option one. Two is we trade him. So that's where I think maybe that's what happened with the Reese McGuire situation. And three, this is last resort. We do not want this to happen because I don't think this will work out in our favor. Three is we release him and then try to sign him. He has to basically, clear, into free agency and then try to sign him to a minor league contract. That may be a waivers thing. I'm very confused on his situation because there's a bunch of stuff with him being an international prospect and just him being technically it's a bunch of service time, but it's all in the minors. So there's just a ton of stuff going on there. So
someone's going to swoop him up. Someone's going to offer him enough money to where he'll move on from the White Sox. So I would just put him at that last roster spot.
Yeah, and that's he's had a really good spring training so far. So that good for him, but kind of bad for the White Sox because it puts him in this awkward spot where we either got to keep him or we're going to lose him. Like that's the two.
Right.
We can't set him down again or anything.
Right, and I think he's somewhat fast. Mm-hmm. And we lost Billy Hamilton. So, just make him the pinch runner, put him in the pinch runner spot. I don't know. Just, we can't give up on him. I don't know.
Yeah, my last comment on him, because, we got a lot more to cover here, but my last comment on him is I actually kind of wish we didn't trade for AJ Pollock, because now Miker, even if he gets called up, he's not going to, I don't know. We've had this a couple of years running now where was Adam Eaton. He had to play because he just, I don't know what, we had his contract. He was guaranteed of, however many games. And then we had Nomar Mazara the year before where we weren't playing Adam Engel and these other guys that we want to see, these guys that we have, these homegrown guys that are actually the future play in right field. So that kind of, it just puts everyone in a weird spot. Hopefully, Tony La Russa and as well AJ Pollock can kind of get over their egos and just be like, all right, what's best for the team is playing the guy that's here for the future. So we'll see. So that's enough Miker Adolfo talk. Another guy, I mentioned him earlier, Adam Hazley. It's an E-L-E-Y, so that's a little confusing of a name, but he's an outfielder. Traded for him earlier in the offseason. So I believe he came from the Phillies. He's a young guy. He was kind of expected to battle for that right field spot until we got AJ Pollock, and he's kind of a no-brainer under Miker Adolfo. He's getting sent down. He's a young guy. He's got 1 year of service in Major League Baseball, I believe, it cumulative. So he's basically a depth guy, and I can see him getting brought up maybe throughout the season, especially if there's any more injuries or whatever, or if we lose Miker Adolfo. But he could be okay, but he's definitely still a young guy. He's just not ready yet. So a couple other guys that replacements / call-ups: Danny Mendick, Sebi Zavala, Jimmy Lambert, Romy Gonzalez. I believe I pronounced that right. He's interesting. He's been having a fun little spring. He had an interesting year last year. Just we just have a lot of depth in the infield, except for second base, I guess. Anderson Severino, that was a guy we acquired in a trade. Listen, that guy might come up in a little bit. I believe he's a pitcher. And then Jake Berger, I'm sure we'll see him up as well. It kind of sucks for him. We're so deep at first base and designated hitter. So we'll do a deep dive later in the season in that prospect bench bubble. But for now, we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to do predictions. So Jason, I'm going to have you do the batting order. Then I'm going to do the starting rotation. We'll kind of do playoff predictions, record predictions and all of that. So Jason, why don't you hit us with your predicted batting order to open the season, or just kind of full healthy? Okay.
Open the season, hopefully fully healthy. We'll see.
Yeah,
So at 1, the first few, pretty predictable. TA at 1, Lubob 2, Abreu 3. I want to see Eloy at 4 as opposed to Grandal, because Grandal is just home run or strikeout. We saw it last year, or walk. But I think Eloy will add a little more juice to the 4th spot. And I mean, he can hit a double. He hits, I don't know if he's hit triples, but it's not just walk, home run. It adds a little more dynamic to the order. And then Grandal 5, because he's got to bat somewhere, and he does hit bombs. Then Moncada 6, Pollock at 7, Harrison at 8, and then Vaughn at 9. And sometimes we'll have to sub in Sheets for Vaughn when he's out. And then also Adam Engel. I forgot about him, if we're being honest. And then today I saw he was put in the lineup. And I mean, I've always been high on the dude, and he's just never performed, but he is good in the field and he's fast. So I'd like to see him at some point, but the dude's also made of glass. So we'll see what happens.
He definitely gets injured a lot. Yeah, the White Sox have no respect for Adam Engel at all. They just they're like, wow, if only we had a right fielder. And he's just like, hey, what about me? And it's like, all right, no more Massara, man. So it's just, that does kind of suck for him. I can actually see them maybe when Vaughn's back, the Vaughn Sheets kind of switching in and out on the DH, him and Pollock kind of switching. Oh wait, no, it would be Harrison 9th, just because he is he's kind of a guy, he can get on base pretty well. He's actually a good he's kind of a good fundamentals guy. So I can see them putting him 9th, just so that it's kind of like when we had Nick Madrigal, which again, wish we had him back, but either way, it was kind of that almost like an extra leadoff guy once you get into like the later innings. I know he loses in a bat more because it's the 9th spot, but you got to think of it strategically as well. You'd rather have him coming up right before Tim Anderson, coming up right before Luis Robert. So
even if he gets one less at bat, he might get on base just as much or more than someone else. So.
Exactly, and it's we're not going to put him above Tim Anderson or once you get down to that bottom 2-3. I mean, it's obviously, I'm sure there's some statistical breakdown of the extreme difference it makes, but until someone sends me that, I'm just going to assume there's not. So starting rotation when healthy, and then I'll say the plan, but obviously with Lance Lynn being out. So when healthy, Giolito, Lance Lynn, it's obvious there, Dylan Cease. So this is the one where there's a little swap here. Michael Kopech should be the fourth spot, because Dallas Keuchel should probably not be on the team anymore, but he'll be the 5th spot. There's no reason that we shouldn't have, unless they're trying to do something like, we'll just punt on our 4th day and then we'll run, Kopech, Gio, Lance, Cease, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, you can. I'll let Tony La Russa figure that one out. But until Lance comes back, it's probably going to bump everyone up one spot. So, Cease will be 2, Kopech will be 3, Keuchel will probably be 4, and it'll most likely be Vince Velasquez taking that 5th spot. But Ronaldo Lopez still is in the bullpen, so I can see, depending on how Vince performs, I don't exactly have the highest expectations for him, but I can see that kind of being switched in and out. Or they have those 12 games in 12 days, especially in May. I'm sure it's scheduling related with starting the season a little late. I'm sure there's some double headers in there. I can see Ronaldo, and they're back to the 9-inning double headers. I could definitely see Ronaldo Lopez being a 6th starter. I actually wouldn't hate if they did that to kind of keep everyone healthy, at least at the start of the year. But so that is what we think is going to be out there in the field. And now we can get into how do we think it's going to work, I guess, basically in the regular season and throughout the season. So Jason, if you want to hit us with the record and what you think the divisional result is going to be.
Yeah, so I'm very optimistic this year, but I'm also going to be a bit realistic. I don't think we're going to hit 100 wins this year, but I think we'll go 97-65, win our division pretty easily. I know some teams have made a few acquisitions, Carlos Correa, whatever. He's one person, hate him. But I think we're going to win our division pretty easily again this year, so should be a few fun games to watch.
Yep. I also think the White Sox are going to win the division. I have them at 94-68. There was no real mathematical process behind it, I'll be honest. I did just bump them down a couple of games because we are going to be missing Lance Lynn in the beginning. And, I'm sure we'll just pick up a couple injuries along the way. And it's just, I don't think we may not have the horses, like pitching wise, at least to, like you said, get us to that 100-game mark. Just is what it is. A lot of good teams in baseball, especially in the American League. Fangraphs predicted that we would be in first place, by the way, but they predicted us at 86-76, which is a crazy low record for first place. And I think they have us like 7th in the American League or 5th or something like that. And still first place in our division. So that goes to show you how the AL Central is.
Yeah.
I'm not actually that scared of the Twins this year. The Tigers. That's the team I'm most scared of this year because they've been kind of bubbling up. They had a really interesting part of the year last year where they I think they were 10 games over 500 in a 50 game stretch in the middle of the season. They were just going nuts, but they were injured. They're young. They're still bringing guys up. They got Javi Baez, obviously. So they're an interesting one. I'm not rooting for them. I want to be clear about that, but they are kind of that fun young team and they got a little more talent. So I'm very excited. We opened the season against them. That'll be very fun to see. Giolito opening day started. We probably should have led with that off the bat, but so playoff seeding. We're going to talk about where we think they're going to end up in the playoffs, or if we think they are even going to make the playoffs. Spoiler, we do think they will, and how far they will go. So I'm saying 3rd place in the American League. And I know, I'm an eternal optimist about the White Sox. I want to say they'll go 162-0, first place, sweep the playoffs, win the World Series. But I do think they're going to end up being 3rd for the reasons I mentioned, where I just think our starting pitching, it's going to be tough. It may not be able to carry us as far in the regular season, at least, as we want to go. I do think it's going to be probably Red Sox 1, Astros 2. I will refuse to say the Yankees will be ahead of us. And I don't think the Rays are. I just don't think the Rays will be. I think they play in a very
fake.
Yeah, the Fangraphs has the Blue Jays as the number 1, I think, in their. And I like going out their projections. Sue me, Fangraphs is good at what they do. But the Red Sox are just an absolute wagon after getting Trevor Story. Talk about just filling a hole. Their starting pitching may be a little bit of an issue, but I do think we'll go to the ALCS though. I think we'll sneak in. We'll get into the ALCS. The playoffs are they're going to be a little weird, I think, this year, especially like I said, it's just a very stacked American League. So I think we'll get lucky where if we can get the right matchup with the 3rd seed, we could have maybe the 1 or 2 seed, whether Red Sox, Astros, Yankees get knocked out early, that we don't have to deal with them. Or we might be just matched up with them first round. We'll find out depending on how everything shakes out. Because obviously, the division winners get that top 3 seeds, but everything goes crazy from there. So that's my opinion on it. Jason, what do you think?
So you said you think number 1 seed gets knocked out early. I have the Sox as the number 1 seed. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
I hope that doesn't happen then.
But the caveat is, and as a Sox fan, we're used to it. Everyone's going to call us frauds, and let's just prove them wrong. We're used to it. They don't even talk about us. I remember last year, Frank Thomas just had to fight and claw his way with the rest of those analysts just to get a good word in about the Sox. So,
yep.
And then how far we go, I say if we're fully healthy, everyone's playing at their best. We see the Dodgers in the World Series, and I see a nice Lou Bob walk-off against Craig Kimbrell at the G spot as we hold up the World Series trophy.
Hey, that works for me. You know what? I switch all my picks to yours. Let's do that instead. So speaking of Lou Bob, we're going to just hit on some awards, some miscellaneous stuff, and then we'll get out of here. So Luis Robert is my first award that I think will be won. I think he's going to win MVP. I'm going to pound the table for it. Barring any injuries or anything crazy like that, I just think he is so good all around. Obviously AL MVP because they do the split league stuff, but I do think he's gonna be the best player in baseball in the coming years. He's so good in the outfield. He's so fast. He's just an incredible defensive player, and he's also an incredible offensive player. That's why I always compare him to Mike Trout, because he is just that 5-tool player. He can do everything. So that is my first prediction. Everything, and it's just facts. Unfortunately, he didn't get to really showcase it last year, but even when he came back, he was awesome. Except for that one ball that bounced off his head. I was at that game. He kind of caught his cleats in the grass, and that was a tough one.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't. It's just one. So my second and final award / miscellaneous prediction for the season is Jose Abreu will lead the league, or at least the American League, in RBIs. I can't remember if my bet is for the entire league or just the American League, but he nearly led last year. He was leading all the way to the end. I should have won that bet. It was 10 to 162. Got screwed there. Yeah. And then I think he led it in 2020. So he hits RBIs. Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, they get on base. He knocks them in. I don't make the rules. He does. And that's what he does. So, Jason, what do you got?
First prediction, TA runs scored leader in 124 games last year. He put up 94. The leader, Vlad, had 123 in 161 games. I'm not going to break that down game by game, run by run, but if he played 161, he would have got that record.
Yep.
Or been the leader. And then my other prediction is Cease to lead the league in Ks. I don't know if I can bet on this or not, but I think I've convinced myself to do it. So last year he was second in Ks per 9, only to Corbin Burns, and he was like 0.4 behind him. So basically the same. Cease in the offseason, heard in an interview, he's developing his changeup. So he is still working on his pitches. He's adding more to the arsenal. And that is he'll do better this year, in theory, you would think. And he's only 26, so if he doesn't do it this year, he's just going to keep developing, and he's going to hopefully be in a Sox jersey and an ace for years to come. So
I couldn't agree more. You mentioned Arsenal. I'm a Tottenham fan. They announced the North London Derby, May 12th. It's a Thursday. The Gunners are going down. Come on, you Spurs. So that will close out this first 2022 preview of the MLB season. I forgot what I was saying there for a second. I'm excited baseball's back. I'm so excited. Jason and I have tickets to that Saturday game against the Rays. First Saturday home game, April 16th, 17th, 16th, I believe. So that's exciting. We got games throughout the year. So with that, that'll do it for this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Supita. Thank you again to White Sox expert Jason Frank for joining me again today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Until next time, Southsiders, go White Sox.
Go.